Yeah, yeah. I know a lot of y'all going to overreact, but this is not what we're gonna do. And here's why.
If they ain't cooking, I don't want it.
What's going on, everybody? It is your boy DT with another episode of the Ins and Out with D podcast. Yes, we are back again. Preseason has officially started for a couple of teams. We got some games going on currently right now, but today's episode we are going to be recapping the Commanders game last night. Yes, the Commanders played in the first preseason game against the New England Patriots. They also had joint practice this week with New England, and we were here going to be recapping and showing my reaction to the game last night. Commanders lost 48-18 against the New England Patriots. Um, Here are my thoughts so far. So, for one, let's everybody calm down a tad bit for what we saw on the football field. 30 starters did not play last night. um, 30 starters and contributors did not play last night. So you had a lot of the second and third team and the rest of the guys that's trying to fight for spots on the football team. So New England, of course, they played their starters. Makes a lot of sense. New offensive coordinator, new head coach, new defensive coordinator. They have restarted their program in New England. So I think people need to realize where certain teams are at. Now, of course, for Washington, they're still trying to build this team. Um, there's still some things that needs to be fixed upon. But the only thing I would honestly say about the game last night that kind of disappointed me was more of the effort, more of fighting back against New England. I felt like we all came in the game extremely flat, whether it's offense and defense. It has some flashes, a couple flashes, but overall the performance was just not good. And I could tell on Dan Quinn's face that there was a lot of things that was going on that he was really bothered by. Where it was missed tackles, missed assignments, uh, drops, penalties. We had 15 penalties yesterday. Um, that's ridiculous in the first preseason game um, the new season. So that's where I see some of the things going on. Obviously, we'll get to talk about some of the performances I've seen from individuals and the overall assessment for the first week of preseason. But yeah, I'm really bothered by how they played last night. I wanted some more effort, I wanted some more fire. I thought they were going to come out and be competitive. It was not competitive at all. It felt like guys were just out there just to be out there, and it was it was alarming to me. It was alarming to me, but I'm not. I will say this: I'm not gonna be like, "Oh my God, this is how the season's gonna be," because, like I said, 30 starters did not play. Your starting offensive line, maybe outside of Connolly, did not play. Connolly needed the reps. Your starting defensive line, now, of course, we'll get to that conversation as well. The defensive line didn't play. Your starting linebackers didn't play. And your secondary, the only starter that will be projected is Trey Amos. He needed some reps. And, he, from the flashes I've seen, he looked pretty good. But then there's also the other side of football as well. Talked about offense and the defense, but the special teams was extremely horrible. The special teams was horrible. And once again, when it comes to the kicking situation, um, it doesn't look confident. I don't look confident at all at it. I mean, Matt Gay, they paid a lot of money for him to come here, but I still felt like, in my opinion, they still should have had a type of competition regardless. They didn't bring nobody in. It was only Matt Gay and Matt Gay only. And for the past week, even in joint practices, I've been hearing reports and stuff about him missing kicks. And if he missed a kick, it would probably go left. And where did the kick go? Left. I got a couple questions and stuff, man. Performance overall was bad, but it's not the end of the world. There, I believe Dan Quinn and AP them are going to be hitting the books trying to get these guys um, up to speed with the program. And I honestly, I'm going to see a different performance anyway on Monday night when they play Cincinnati on national television. The starters will probably play about a good quarter, I would say. Jaden Daniels and the crew, but yeah, it did not look good last night. It didn't look good last night. I don't care about winning preseason games because all I care about is the evaluation of players. And speaking of players, let's go ahead and talk about a couple of players that I felt like won and a couple of players that I felt like kind of hurt themselves. Players that won last night. First one has to be Johnny Newton. I've been talking about him for probably the past couple weeks, and I talked about him literally yesterday evening in a space with some of the Commanders fans talking about where the outlook of the defensive line, and I said like Johnny Newton when it comes to being an overall defensive tackle, I still think there's some things he needs to improve on in stopping the run. I don't really see him as a run defending defensive tackle. I see him more as a pass rushing defensive tackle. And Lord beholds, that's what he flashed last night. Now, I did see some improvement in him standing up against offensive linemen at the point of the attack. But that sack, that strip sack on Drake May was glorious. You see the power, you see the quickness that we've seen from Illinois. And the key thing that a lot of people are not talking about is not only did he get the sack, but he caused a turnover. And that's something that we need to do for this defense. So Johnny Newton is one guy that definitely stock is rising for this upcoming season. Trey Amos, through the small snaps I seen, he had one good coverage against one of the receivers, and he also had a good stop in the backfield on a toss play to Travion Henderson. Noah Iganagabi, he also wanted me over Trey Revo, not Trey Revo, Jeremy Reeves, aka Revo, played great last night. But when we get to some of the other guys on defense, it the bar is pretty low. The bar is pretty low for a lot of guys on the defense. The run defense, I know it was the second and third strings, but of course the run defense will be a concern overall for this team. That didn't good look, especially when they ran across the edges with the toss plays and things of that nature. They still had their way with us. Vigors is interesting because he was an undrafted guy. He got the prototypical size of a tall corner that DQ loves, but he was ducking smoke last night. I'm gonna be honest with you. And then when he was ready for smoke, he didn't handle it well because he got stiff arm. He got pushed over. Um, he was getting bullied a little bit last night. I was kind of disappointed that you got to step up to the physicality. Tyler Owens, he took a step back. He missed a lot of tackles. Um, I'll have to wait and see how the coverage looked with him out there, but I see him more as a guy that plays in a box, and I think that took a little bit of a stock down. Another guy that Another guy that kind of took a step back to me, I gotta go with Dominic Hampton. Dominic Hampton, he is a converted safety to linebacker, but you could definitely see why he still trying to learn the position that he got converted last year. he was non-existent in run gaps and the run defense. Still looking like he's trying to find his way in this new position. So that's not looking good for him. But also, Jordan McGee didn't travel with the team because of a mysterious injury, and I think I'm honestly going to say his stock is down because I've been waiting for him to finally stay healthy. He's deemed as the next heir apparent in this linebacker room, but in order for you to be a heir apparent, you gotta be available. So hopefully we find out what the injury is. I hope it's minor. I think it's hopefully it's just for 1 week because I really need to see him play. I don't think we have really truly seen him play even in a preseason game or even in the regular season. Well, of course, we're not the regular season because he was injured there and he played special teams. But I want to see how he is in his defense. I want to see him with the green dot. I want to see him how he gets a feel of the game. And we're kind of missing that right now with Jordan McGee not getting some snaps. But Kane Madrano got some snaps as well. I know, shout out to Red Zone Lab. I know Deuce is about to do a playback today around 6:30 to discuss some of the players that we're going to be keying on. And Kane Madrano is one guy that we talked about. How is he physically? I don't think he's physically there yet. He does flash at times, but it's still going to be some things that he has to work on as well. And that's really for the defense. The defense, it's still got some work to do, but I would like to see how the defense looks on week 2 of the preseason against the Bengals. Now for the offense, this is funny. Offensively, outside of Bill Crossing and Mary, the offense did not look good. Well, it didn't look good until Josh Johnson got in the game. Well, Josh Johnson got in the game. The offense looked like it was able to move quite a bit. They had one good drive where it led to the first touchdown of the game. But Crossing Merritt before Johnson got in, he was literally the only player that flashed on offense. Connerly had some wins and he had some little bit things that, of course, getting adjusted to the NFL. But I'm very confident in Josh Connerly. I thought he for his first performance he did extremely well in an NFL game in an NFL setting. Who's another person that I felt like Ben Sinnott? He had a couple catches, but I think it's more. I think it was okay for Ben Sinnott. He had a couple catches, but when it comes to the wide receivers and the tight end position, the skill players, you're not going to get a true evaluation unless Josh Johnson is out there. I'm going to be completely honest with you because when Sam Hartman was out there, oh my God. Oh my God. Nah. And I understand he has shoulder surgery, but nah. We already got questions at the wide receiver spot after Terry and Noah Brown and Debo and Lane. Like we're trying to see how this wide receiver room going to work out, and we're not giving these guys a lot of opportunities. And for that, they took an L yesterday. If I had to say wide receivers that got a leg up in the competition, I would say Tay Martin and Ja'Cory Brooks. They got some step up in this game, especially when Josh Johnson came in the game because offense was putrid, bro. Like it was hard to watch. And looking at that, I mean, offensively, man, like also got to understand that the starters didn't play, so you kind of see the difference of like when Jaden's not in the game, and even Marcus Mariota, and then you see guys like Sam Hartman playing quarterback, operating things. It did not look good. Offensive line wise, I thought the offensive line was solid. I actually don't remember them like. I don't remember a sack. I did maybe quite remember a couple of pressures, but I think the quarterbacks did enough to step up in the pocket and make the throw still or ran out the pocket. I still think the depth is good when you get to your first 7. You don't want to get to like 8 and 9 of them because you get 8 and 9 of them. I don't know. I don't know at all. And that happened. Honestly, bro, it was really a weird performance overall, man. It coaching coaching. Do I want to blame the coaches? Nah, I don't really want to blame the coaches. I think it's more on the players, to be honest with you. But if we do talk about coaching, hopefully these guys, you know what? I'm gonna scratch that because you want to know why? I would have to say it's some type of coaching because if for them to come out flat like that, I'm I'm not typically used to them coming out flat like that. Well, I'm used to the old regimes, and then but like for Dan Quinn type team coming flat like that, ooh, yeah, that left a bad burn last night. Hopefully, we don't have to see that again. I still expect them to play better um week 2 when majority of the starters going to be playing. I don't think they're going to play long, but definitely definitely going to be better and more competitive, and it's going to look like a football team. And now let's get to this topic and conversation before I head out. So I think the main topic is going to be obviously with the Terry McLaurin contract and the wide receiver room. So the wide receivers, like I said, I think you won't really get a true evaluation of the wide receivers unless Johnson is playing or Jaden and Mariota. But at the same time, though, really, even though I said Tay Martin and Ja'Cory Brooks, I think they got opportunities because nobody else really stepped up except for those guys. And I think the bar is low for that room as well because Luke McCaffrey, I heard he was sick, but didn't flash. KJ Osborne had a catch, but he also had some miss, but I think it was because of the quarterback. Michael Gallup slipped. He had one good catch, but uh Jalen Lane got targeted once, and it was a high pass. And after that, I haven't really seen him. So the wide receiver room, I like this wide receiver room when you have Terry, Noah Brown, and Debo Samuels. But when them guys not in there, I have to be concerned. I have to be concerned, and I wonder for AP if AP's looking at this wide receiver room and looking at the performance last night, and this Terry thing does not get resolved, even though I think it'll get resolved before the season opener. Are they going to be looking around at these other teams, some talented depth pieces at the wide receiver spot, see who gets cut? Are they going to try to stash one of these guys, or are they going to sign a vet in the free agent market? That's why I think AP is going to move like that. And to me, if they do go that route, that might put some fear a little bit with this Terry conversation. I'm going to be honest with you guys, and hopefully they get this thing resolved. Hopefully Noah Brown can get healthy, so these guys can be complemented with each other because all three of those guys in that room complement each other. Terry, number one guy, contested guy, still got some speed. Play play the ball up top. Debo Samuel, gadget guy, weapon, move all over the place, kill you underneath. Intermediate game, Noah Brown, reliable guy, makes those big third down conversions. And then you got Lane, and then honestly, that other spot could be anybody. To be honest with you, but that's all I gotta say. So overall, I didn't care about winning the preseason game, but I was very disappointed in the performance of the Commanders last night. They're going to play better. They ain't got no choice but to play better, and we're going to see the starters probably a little bit on August 18th when they play on Monday Night Football on national television. So, guys, thank you for tuning into this podcast. We'll leave a So, student, you know, I am gonna be out after Monday. I'm gonna be taking my time, having vacation before the school year starts back up. But you guys will you guys will be seeing me more on the Ins and Out podcast, but also other podcasts as well. So yeah. So with that being said, it's your boy TT, and I am going to see you guys whenever I get off of vacation. So y'all have a safe break.
If they ain't cooking, I don't want it.